Welcome back to Everyday Living with Elizabeth. Today we will be making homemade bread, and I got this recipe from She's In Her Apron. I'll put her link down below for her original recipe. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our hot water to our Bosch. This is my Bosch mixer. This is probably one of my favorite items in my kitchen, thanks to my husband. So we're gonna take the lid off, and you will add 5.5 cups of hot water to this. It needs to be between 110 and 113 degrees. And I already have it pre-measured out here. And I'm making a mess. Okay, and to that we're gonna add 2/3 of a cup of oil. And I'm just using regular vegetable oil. Okay, and we're going to use the same amount, 2/3 of a cup of honey. I'm using this Palermo wildflower honey. You kind of want to put the honey in with the exact same one you use the oil with, so the honey comes out a little easier and won't stick to it. Should have opened all this beforehand. Hey babe, can you open it? I am not prepared today, guys. Sorry. Thanks, babe.
Welcome.
Okay. This is going to make 3 of my Pullman pan loaves. I will show you those here in a little bit. They're pretty big. Can you grab me that little purple spatula thing? The purple? The little one. Thank you. Okay. We're going to use 3 tablespoons of yeast. I get the SAF instant yeast, and that comes in a bag about this big, and it's white. I freeze my yeast, so this is straight from the freezer. It's okay if it's cold and the water's hot. It'll just take a little longer for the yeast to activate. But you're going to do 3 tablespoons. Okay, and you're going to turn it on to 1. This is going to be kind of loud, so I'm probably going to fast forward this. But you're going to let it run for about 30 seconds. Alright, so we're going to turn it off, and I'm just going to scrape the yeast down into the bowl. And we're just going to let this sit for about 5 minutes until it gets activated, and you're going to see a bunch of foam in there. I'll bring you back when that's ready. Alright guys, we're back, and it's been about 4 minutes, and it looks like it's risen a lot. So we're just going to go ahead and start with the next step. We're going to add a tablespoon of salt. I know it sounds like a lot, but we're making 3 loaves of bread. And the rest of this is just a whole tablespoon. So I'm just going to add the whole thing. This is my favorite bread recipe. This recipe takes a lot of flour. It's going to be between 12 and 15 cups depending on where you're at. You're going to start out with 5.5 cups. So this is my half cup. I'm going to just fluff the flour with it before I go like just heap it. Oh man, give me just a second. Okay, you're going to take the back of a knife, a butter knife, and you're just going to level it off. That's my half cup. And we're going to do 5 whole cups just the same way. Okay, that's the last of the 5th cup. And we are going to take our lid and we're going to put it on. And we're going to let this go for about a minute or so, just until the flour gets incorporated. Okay, so we're going to start adding it 1 cup at a time. Once it starts to pull away from the sides, you'll add an extra ½ cup, and then you'll let it go for a good 5 to 7 minutes. This is the kneading part. You won't have to pull it out and knead it as much once it's done. I'll put down below how many cups of flour I actually used. It might not be the same for everybody, but this is just how much I used. Alright, I'm going to start with 2 cups. And we're going to add as it's running. Okay, so I just added 6 cups of extra flour, so that brings this to 11½ cups of flour so far. And as you can tell, if I remove the lid, it's still very, like, runny, very wet. So we're going to keep adding the water, or the flour. We're going to keep adding the flour until it starts to pull away from the sides. And I'm going to show you this. As it's going to start running. It's going to be loud, so if I talk a little loud, I'm sorry. But as it's on the very bottom, you will see that it's still sticking to the bottom. I will add another ½ cup, and then we'll see if it's still sticking. If it isn't, we'll add another ½ cup, put the lid back on, and we'll let it run for between 5 and 7 minutes. Okay, I'm just scraping down the sides a little bit. It did pull away from the bottom. So once I'm done scraping the sides, I will add an extra ½ cup and just let it run with the lid on for 5 to 7 minutes. I will bring you back when that's done. Alright guys, we still have about 3 minutes for this to knead. I wanted to bring you back to show you what I was going to do in the meantime. I have these pans. These are my bread pans. This is a Pullman pan. I got these on Amazon and they are amazing. They have the lid and we're going to let them rise in here. Now, I'm going to take some vegetable shortening or Crisco and I'm going to line the inside of the lid and the inside of this. Do not use the spray. The inside of this lining will be coming off if you use this. Be safe, and I use the shortening so that way it won't stick. Alright, we're going to finish letting this do its thing for 3 minutes and I'll be back. Alright guys, so it's been about 7 minutes. And I'm going to just go ahead and check to see if it looks okay. And by the looks of it, before I took this off, it's still kind of wet, if you can see. So I'm going to add about another cup of flour and see if that helps. Sometimes you take more flour, other days it's less flour. It just depends on the weather outside. Alright, so I'm just going to add 1 cup. Alright, and we're going to put the lid back on. And we're going to let it run for another minute or so. So I'm gonna take it off, and it's still kind of sticky, but it's not like overly wet. So this is good. We're gonna start with the next step. Okay. Now, when you put this out on your counter, you are not gonna add more flour. You will spray the counter with some non-stick spray. I picked this one up at the Dollar Tree. It works the same as any other one. So I'm just gonna move my Bosch so I have more room. Ugh. Okay. All I'm going to do is spray my counter so it doesn't stick. This does not need any more flour. And you're going to get your hands dirty, so. Alright, we're just going to put that aside. You're just going to try to take it all out and put it on the counter. It's kind of hard, but it's fun. Ah! Now remember, this makes 3 big loaves. Now if you're going to use a regular like loaf pan, it'll make between 5 and 6 loaves depending on how much flour you use. Oh my goodness.
Is it supposed to be that sticky?
It is. It's supposed to be this sticky because once you knead it, most of the stickiness will go away. I'm just trying to get it out of the bowl. Hey, will you hold the bowl so I can get my hands down in there? Okay, I can't. Now, when you're kneading it and if it feels too sticky, you can add a little bit more flour. I don't usually, but this time it's a little more sticky than I'd like it to be, but I probably won't add it. If I do, you'll be here with me, so you'll see. Alright, that's good. Alright. So you're just going to pull it back and push. And you're going to do it from all sides. Okay, so I'm going to do it from the side since you guys can't hardly see me. Alright, so you're just going to take it from the top, stretch it up and pull it back, and then you're going to push. You're going to do this for a few minutes, okay? Alright guys, so this dough is still a little sticky for my liking, so I am going to add just a little bit more flour on top. I don't know, just kind of eyeball it. I'm just going to put a little bit on top. And we're just going to knead it again until it's incorporated. I'll be back in a second. So this is the type of dough you're looking for. It's not sticky when you touch your hand on it like this. I used about between 1/2 and 3/4 of a cup extra, and then I just sprayed the counter and finished kneading it. Now I'm going to cut it in to thirds. But I have a feeling this is going to make more than 3 of these pans, but we'll see. This is my dough cutter. I got this off of Amazon. It was about $8. If I can find it, I'll post a link below for you. This. What? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Pullman pan and I'm going to put the lid to the side. I'm going to use this as my guide. So when I'm rolling this out, I'm just going to knead it a couple times till it starts to look like a log. And then you're just going to keep rolling it until it looks like the same size as your pan. Kind of make it look even. That's kind of hard, I know, but then you're going to pick it up, put it in the pan, and you're just going to press the top so it gets into the corners. Okay, so it'll look like that once you're done. I'm going to put the lid back on. And I'm going to set it to the side. And I'm going to do it for the next two big ones. If I use a small one, I'll come back and let you know. Alright guys, so this was my last piece of dough for my one pan. This was a little big for this pan, so I cut it about 1/3. And I'm going to use this for this pan. I'm going to use this one for a smaller pan. So I'm going to get 3 big loaves and 1 small loaf. And again, I'm just kneading it. And I'm going to knead it until it rolls into a log like that. And then I'm just going to pick it up, put it in a pan. And I'm going to press it out so it gets into the corners for the most part. It doesn't have to be perfect. But you do want to try to get it to be a little even. Okay, and that's what it looks like. And I'm making a mess. Put the lid on, set it aside. And this is my little one. As you can tell, it's little. So we're gonna do the same thing with this one. Spread a little the counter a little more, and we're just gonna roll it till it comes into a log shape. My hands are clean, by the way. Just put it in there and you push it down. Okay, now we have our loaves. I'm just going to set them here on the counter. Alright, we're going to let them sit here and rise for about 20 minutes to an hour. And we will check them at 20 minutes. And you don't want them to rise all the way to the top. You want them to rise about maybe an inch from there, because once you put them in the oven, they will rise up to the top and give you that square loaf. But I'm going to preheat the oven while this does this, so it gives it a little more heat in the room to help them rise. We're going to preheat the oven to 350, and we'll be back when I show you how far they are. Okay, so we're back, and it's been about a half hour, and it's risen about to the top, so that's where we want it. See, it's not touching the top of the lid, but it's up high enough. This little one, since this was the last loaf, it's not going to rise as much because I didn't put a lot in there. So that's just going to be a little loaf for the kids. But the rest of these, they're risen about an inch from the top. That one's a little higher, but we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then 20 minutes I'm going to check on them. And if they look like they're done, I'm going to remove the lids and I'm going to let them set back in there for another 5 to 8 minutes just to get a little golden brown on the top. And then when those are done, I'll bring you back and show you what they look like. Okay, we're just going to put them in the oven. Sorry, my oven's kind of dirty. Yeah, I haven't cleaned it. All right, and I'll bring you back in about 20 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. I'm going to pull one of these out. One from the middle. I'm going to open it up. Oh, those look perfect. I'm just going to take them out and I'm going to remove the lids. Oh, this one's perfect. This one came straight out to the edge. Look at that. That's perfectly square bread. Ooh, look at those. I don't even have to put these back in the oven to brown the top. They are perfect. Oh, oh, that one. Look at that one. That was the little one. Alright, so I'm just going to grab a cooling rack. And I'm going to just turn these out very carefully because they are still very hot. We're going to do that to all of them. These might need longer in there. Okay, so they still need a few more minutes in there. I tried to flip one out and the bottoms aren't quite brown. So we're going to put them back in for maybe 10 minutes. I'll check them about 5 minutes just to see. But when I do that, I'll bring you back. Alright, it's been 10 more minutes. It's been in there a total of 30 minutes so far. I'm going to bring one out. And I'm just going to check it to make sure the bottom is brown and it's fully cooked. Ah! There we go. It's perfectly golden. Really, for me, I'm just looking more for the color. Because after about 20 minutes, it is done. I like that golden color on it. Alright, so we're going to bring out the rest. And we're just going to flip them over. And we're going to let them cool on this rack. And I will cut into it once it's cooled down completely. And then I'll show you guys what that looks like. But I'm going to go ahead and get all these out. Turn off this oven. Alright, and we're just going to let these cool down completely. I'll bring you back in about 2 to 3 hours, and then we'll cut into one. Okay, so we're back. It's been about 2 hours. I'm going to cut open this little one because my kids really want to eat a piece. So we're just going to cut into this. I'll come over here like this. Oh, maybe. Ah! Look at that. Look how soft that is. That is so soft. All right, and I hope you try this recipe at home.